Now, the WMAL Fisher House Radiothon continues. Please support our wounded warriors and their families by calling in your contribution now. 888-294-8560. That's 888-294-8560.
6:07 here, and you just heard it. It's the Fisher House Radiothon here on WMAL. 23 years, 24 years now, I think we've done this. Phenomenal. Absolutely incredible relationship. This is our 23rd year. We were the first radio station nationwide, and now other radio stations do this all year long, raise money and raise awareness for Fisher House. And our total from the first hour, as you just heard, $6,276. Please, whatever you can give. It goes such a long way, and it's such a great organization with – we're going to get into it later in the program, but they get 4-star ratings from every one of the observers of these charities to check them, make sure that every penny that can go directly to those who benefit goes to those who benefit. They have such a small overhead, low administrative cost. That's the sign of a really great charity. 888-294-8560 or online at WMAL.com/FisherHouse. It's Larry O'Connor with Cassie Smedile, and we've done this before together. I know how much joy it brings to you as well, going through the process of the Radiothon.
Oh, it is, and the stories are amazing. I mean, the Fisher House team, not only does it leave you wanting to donate and support this organization, but I think, how do I work there? This is just so awesome, what they do. Yeah. It's really cool.
I also want to say, part of the fun of this is sort of there are some built-in rivalries amongst the branches of the military. And so many of the donations that we get are from veterans and from active duty. And I've been accused, Cassie, of being a little too pro-Navy.
You don't say, Larry.
Well, now and again. Ours is a Navy Marine Corps family. In fact, this year I had the honor of seeing my daughter, a naval officer, marry my son-in-law, a Marine Corps officer, with all the swords ablazing there at the church as they walked out. And so I often like to sort of challenge Army veterans to step up, because we're also a week away from 9 days away from Army Navy in Baltimore, and Navy is heavily favored. May I say, it's a big deal.
Okay.
Well, despite Navy's success on the football field recently, I do want to point out, because I got to keep it real. Last year, despite Navy's dominance in the football game, Army outdid Navy in donations here on WMAL. Oh. At least for those who identify their branch. So, when you call in, say, listen, here's my donation, here's my $100, this is my name, here's where I'm from, and tell Larry, go Army, beat Navy. See, that's how I know. And then they let me know, and I keep a running tally. And last year, Army sort of kicked Navy's butt in the donation part of it. So we need to step up here. It's not enough that we trounce them in the football game. And I can begin with this one. Philip from Arlington, who is a Marine. So thank you, Philip, representing the Navy Marine Corps. They, connected there. Philip from Arlington just made his 10th annual donation. So now 10 years running, Philip in Arlington steps up like all Marines do. Let's face it.
Okay, the challenge is laid for everybody to come in, note who you are affiliated with. Like, for example, when I make my donation today, because they probably won't compete with Army Navy, my brother was Air Force.
Yeah.
My granddads were career Army, but my brother was Air Force, so I'll actually put my notch in for the Air Force. Family, I think it should count for family to be able to say their branch as well.
100% it does. And by the way, huge Air Force representation, not only here in the area, but certainly during our Radiothon, too. I didn't mean to leave them out. I just like to frame it within the football game coming up. But tons coming in from the Air Force as well. Once again, that phone number, 888-294-8560. A quick news item that I wanted to share with you from Media Research Center. Love our friends over at Media Research Center and the great work that they do, as you know. And part of the power of what they do is they do a lot of polls to sort of test the public's understanding of basic news stories and news events. One of the most powerful polls they did was polling people who had voted for Joe Biden after the 2020 election, asked them, had you known about the Biden laptop story, would that have affected your vote? And something like 40% of them said yes. That was Biden
Unbelievable.
voters. And, of course, that's why the media censors these stories, right? Well, this latest poll that they did is incredibly important and incredibly disturbing, and it tells you everything you need to know about how the media reports stories. Less than 25% of voters know the truth about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Less than 25% correctly answered that Charlie Kirk's assassin was a radical leftist who killed Charlie Kirk because of his conservative beliefs. And this is the Jimmy Kimmel effect, too, by the way. You know, when Jimmy Kimmel goes out on his very, powerful platform and suggests that Charlie Kirk's murderer was from the MAGA right, that has an impact. Also, by the way, I want to point out a lot of the stuff, bizarre things that you hear from people like Candace Owens, suggesting that it was some sort of inside job or political hit or it's nuts. We need facts and truth out there, Cassie.
Sure, and I wonder how many people would say they believe that Charlie Kirk was the radical, or Charlie Kirk in some way had this coming, because how much of that was the narrative?
Oh, right. Exactly. That it was like, wow, listen, when you say the stuff that Charlie Kirk does, it's bound to happen that this sort of thing would happen. You're absolutely right. And let's not forget, this is how Jimmy Kimmel, framed the story for his audience. Cut one.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
It's also, so that's a big part of it. It's also, this story has disappeared. The media is not focusing on it. If this were an assassination of a beloved, iconic, and influential left-wing political voice, they'd still be covering it, and they'd still be doing exposés about what radicalized the crazy MAGA conservative assassin to murder this young person in cold blood. But the media has not done any follow-up story on this thing. The story's dead to them. Listen to these numbers. Almost as disconcerting as 24%, only 24% identifying the assassin as left-wing. 27.5% had no knowledge of any political ideology connected to the assassin at all.
Just a disturbed kid.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just crazy. Maybe he was on Ritalin or something. Yeah. No, didn't realize that this was a politically motivated thing and had any idea. 22% said that the assassin was right-wing.
That's the Jimmy Kimmel effect.
22% of respondents in this MRC poll believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a conservative gunman. Absolutely despicable. Great work, as always, from Media Research Center. We love MRC. And, well, just another failing grade for America's media.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939. You're listening to the WMAL Fisher House Radiothon. Call to donate, 888-294-8560.
And Cassie Smedile, last year, our WMAL family donated over $391,000 during our WMAL Fisher House Radiothon. And so we're thrilled to be able to get that started now this morning. And we'll be continuing for the next, right through Derek Hunter's program tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Joining us right now, Jenny Hall. Now, Jenny Hall is a military spouse liaison with Fisher House. And Jenny, you used to be a house manager, not just any house manager for a Fisher House. You were in Alaska. Well, you've got some stories, don't you?
Good morning. I do. I loved my Alaska house. I'm very proud and excited to be with the National Foundation serving in a bigger capacity. But yes, being a house manager was very humbling.
I bet. And can you tell us, first of all, what are the specific challenges for the Fisher House in Alaska? And I guess there's a lot of Air Force up there, isn't there, and some Navy?
Coast Guard is a huge component as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
about 35% of the people that stayed at my Fisher House were Coast Guard family members. And so that was very big. We also served a lot of veterans. So about 50% of the people that stayed at the Fisher House were veterans. And the other 15% were comprised of the Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines. So we had all contingencies at our house.
Amazing. And Jenny, we've been talking a lot this morning, of course, about the families of those who are receiving treatment at the VA so that the families can be there, especially with war-connected injuries. But I was reading a story about the Daniels family, and they went into, or the wife went into labor early at 23 weeks. She knew there was a problem, went into labor, and was able to stay at the Fisher House at Lackland Air Force Base with her family. And then while their son was was receiving neonatal care, intensive care. And that's a story, too, that this isn't, you guys aren't there just for veterans dealing with service-connected issues, but for the whole life of the veteran and their family.
Right, that's exactly right. And sometimes multi-generational. We'll have people who the World War II or the Vietnam veteran is with us, and then younger generations or their family members become patients, and they come back to the Fisher House for additional stays, unexpected medical things of that nature. One family that stayed with me in Alaska, the service member was deployed, and mom had 12 children. She was a homeschooler, keeping the home fires going, and then suddenly unexpected cancer came to one of their children, a 10-year-old daughter, and more than 50 miles from their medical care. And so mom came to Fisher House with all of her children until the child's dad could return from overseas from deployment. And then he stayed at the Fisher House as well. And one of the nice things about the Fisher House is the family can continue to be a complete unit. They can continue to do those life things like homeschooling, birthdays, things of that nature. And this family was with us for several months. So there was a lot of celebrations, birthdays, holidays, things of that nature that we were able to support the family with.
Yeah, people should know that a lot of the rooms at these Fisher houses are meant to accommodate full families, because a lot of these young men and women, they're in their 20s, early 30s. They've got a couple of toddlers. You got to stay together. Although I don't think I've ever seen a room that accommodates a family with 12 kids. You had to, I think you had to spread them out a little bit.
We did, and I was very blessed to have a house that had adjoining rooms, so that was very nice. And that's one thing about the Fisher houses. I think sometimes service members aren't sure what they're getting into when they're told, oh, you're going to go stay at a place called Fisher House. They might think dilapidated dormitory with a shared bathroom down the hall, and they come to the Fisher House, and it's a home. It's beautiful. It's safe. It's clean, and really honors the service member and their families. And they're just not expecting that. So it's another nice thing about this organization.
Oh,
Everything
I love
is done very well.
I love my house, but I'll say it first. Those Fisher houses are nicer houses than my house. Really, which, by the way, is exactly what these families deserve when they're going through oftentimes a traumatic situation. Could you, while we're talking about the houses and how warm and wonderful they are, as a house manager, a former house manager, could you talk a little bit about those kitchens? The kitchen experience is such a unique and almost therapeutic part of the Fisher House story.
It really is. The kitchen is often something we refer to as the heart of the house, because that is really what makes the house a home. The kitchen is really two kitchens in one, so two families can be cooking at the same time. However, what we do find is that if one family is cooking pancakes for breakfast and another family walks in, the families will say to another, oh, we're having pancakes, would you like to join us? And they really share their meals. So this is where the bonding typically happens, is in the kitchen. If somebody needs a ride to the hospital or needs a ride to the grocery store or is having a good day or a bad day, this is where families pray together. This is where they fellowship together. The kitchens are just wonderful. And in the kitchen, everyone has their own space to have dry goods and also refrigerator space. And then through donations, such as what you're doing this morning, the communities supply staple food items so there's always something to eat. I say nobody goes hungry at a Fisher House.
Yeah.
But these are the things that when you're dealing with unexpected illness and injury, you don't know to stop at the grocery store and grab groceries on your way. So having those staple food items make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, they think of everything, the designs of the homes and how they're stocked and supplied, and then that bonding between the families who are all sort of having a shared experience. Everything about what Fisher House does is just top notch, and that's why we love raising money every year, right, going into the Christmas season. 888-294-8560. Every single one of your donations goes to help these families, the ones who have given so much for our country and our freedoms. 888-294-8560. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for the great work you're doing for Fisher House.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a good day.
You bet. If you want to go online, you can do that too. It's WMAL.com/Fisher House 623. All right, we've got an update here, and it's a good one. Mrs. Doyle, an Army Corps medical nurse, made a $2,000 donation.
Whoa.
Nurse Doyle, you're amazing, and she's challenging the rest of the nurse corps to call in and give what they can. And we've got a new total, Cassie, $11,799.
Oh my gosh.
We are off to a great start, and we know you can do more. Thank you so much for calling. The number, once again, 888-294-8560.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington. Supporting our wounded warriors and their families. The Fisher House Radiothon continues on WMAL, a Cumulus station. News now. Now, the WMAL Fisher House Radiothon continues. Please support our wounded warriors and their families by calling in your contribution now. 888-294-8560. That's 888-294-8560.
6:37 as we charge ahead here on this Thursday morning in your nation's capital. It's a special Thursday, as you just heard. It's our Fisher House Radiothon. Cassie Smedile, always good to have you on a Thursday, especially on the Radiothon day.
Oh, an extra special day to be here, Larry. Thanks for having me.
And if everyone missed it, let me repeat, we're at $11,799, so the calls and the donations are really rolling in fast, especially for so early on in the process. We love that. Let's keep that momentum going. 888-294-8560. And once again, Mrs. Doyle, Army Corps medical nurse, a $2,000 donation,
Wow.
challenging all the rest of the nurse corps to call in and give what they can. I mean, nurses are pretty amazing, aren't they? Although, forgive me, I immediately think of Loretta Swit in MASH, the Hot Lips Houlihan.
Okay,
That was-
you're dating yourself, or I'm dating myself. But
Hold on, MASH is available in reruns. You don't have to have watched them in real time, but
I certainly agree with you about nurses. So I take your point that I'm sure she's a great representation for the industry.
thank you, Nurse Doyle. All right. Excuse me. So, as you know, Muriel Bowser is not running for re-election. And so now we're waiting to see what kind of candidates we might get. Oh, but look at you. You're already... It's like you're suffering from PTSD
Yes.
from your time living in Washington,
I need a
DC.
Fisher House. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, remind us. I mean, you're illustrious district council member there where you lived in Ward. Were you in Ward 3?
I was in 6, Charles Allen.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. That's Ward 6. It faced a recall because of his disastrous performance and the rampant crime and the neglect that the people of that district served. And sadly, that's the case across the board. And Muriel Bowser, as wrong as she was on so many things and blatantly partisanly political and disruptive, and that she sort of came around here at the end when she realized that those radical BLM, defund the police, and obstructionist type policies were ruining the city, and she even sort of jumped on board with the interventions coming from the Trump administration.
Right.
I shouldn't speak in past tense. She's still the mayor.
But with the National Guard. But if you recall, it was a little over a year ago, the D.C. City Council is the problem. They are the main source of the issues. They are so far left. I mean, they're just in a whole other orbit. And they were the ones that were passing all the defund the police stuff.
That's right.
And
Overriding her veto.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she appealed to Congress. And this was when Biden was in the White House. And Congress actually had to come in and save the day, save D.C. And Biden signed it into law. So now that she's not running, I think you're about to tee up the prospects that have announced.
It does not look good right now with regard to what candidates have announced that they're jumping in. Janice Lewis George, member of the D.C. Council. She is basically already setting herself up as the Zohran Mamdani option for the District of Columbia. She calls herself a Democrat socialist. This is the power base within the party right now. This is where the money is. This is where the activity is. This is where the popularity is. They are the Democrat Socialist Party at this point.
It's crazy. First of all, anybody who says my credentials that I'm part of the D.C. City Council should be immediately disqualifying to every voter. They said, never mind. That's been awful.
Oh, you're completely right. We need an outsider to come in.
Yes. And then also, where is the business community? Where are the lobbyists? Where's K Street? If you want D.C. to look like any remnants of a safe, profitable city, you guys need to find somebody and fund them. And because this cannot be the only option.
They're all taking the Zohran Mamdani playbook here, the template, and you tell me if this sounds familiar from her campaign announcement. Too many residents still feel squeezed financially from unaffordable housing to childcare, and they feel unsafe in their neighborhoods. Yeah, okay, so let's take each one of those. Unaffordable housing, squeezed financially, expensive childcare, and unsafe in your neighborhoods. It's you guys, it's your party, and it's your policies that have been dominant. There's not one reasonable, rational, right-of-center voice on the district council. If there's a problem in D.C., you're the ones who caused it, and her solution is more of the same.
Right. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. My favorite is always when you have career politicians who say, like, I'm with you, I'm for the little guy. Don't pay attention to the fact that all of the things I've supported are the reason why you're feeling squeezed financially and unable to afford a home and not safe in your own neighborhood.
Yeah. She's also already begun sort of de-tagging herself from certain social media statements and posts and things that might not look good in a general election, even in D.C., with regard to defunding the police, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, if you care about public safety, if you care about rational ideas, and I shouldn't even go too far down the road here, because if somebody like her wins in Washington, D.C. and starts implementing some of these policies, if we still have a Republican majority in the House and in the Senate, and if we have a Republican president, this could actually lead to revoking home rule. If you get a Zohran Mamdani type who comes in and starts running D.C. like, Moscow circa 1919, it ain't going to last. Sorry, you could revoke the home rule charter like that if you've got the right politicians who are willing to do it in Congress.
You raise a good point. Another reason for those of us who have escaped D.C. or were smart enough to never live in it to vote and to make sure that we retain that majority so that you could have options. But Larry, the problem with D.C. residents is that you've got people, frankly, like how my husband and I were. We did vote, but it felt pointless. You just see, what's the point? There's nobody here who really represents me. Then you have the folks who are stuck in the cycle of poverty, generational, who are stuck with failing schools, and they don't feel supported, but also don't really know how to overcome that, get out of that, so they just settle in what they know. And then here in the middle, you have these latte liberal progressives who hang out in their multi-million-dollar homes in Georgetown and Capitol Hill and Kalorama.
And Northwest.
And vote for this stuff because they feel good about themselves.
I think there's only one solution. Stephen Miller for mayor.
Oh, can you imagine?
I just want to see the debates. How about Tom Homan?
Oh,
it's
please.
6:43.
Later this morning on the Chris Plant Show, the Democrats are eager to lynch the Secretary of War and a bunch of our military commanders. How far will they get? 9 a.m. on WMAL.
News, weather, and traffic are brought to you by MervisDiamond.com. The best diamonds in the world are waiting for you at Mervis Diamond Importers. For the largest diamond collection and the best value, visit Mervis. At Mervis, you don't have to be an expert to buy like one. Nobody pays retail anymore. Why should you? MervisDiamond.com or call 800-HER-LOVE.
Leonardo DRS has one priority: our nation's military forces. While our products and technologies support these heroes in the field, it's our commitment to improve their families' lives back at home. Through our work with charities like Fisher House and TAPS, we are able to directly impact the needs of service members and their families when they need it most. Visit leonardodrs.com/our-commitment to learn more.
You're listening to the WMAL Fisher House Radiothon. Call to donate 888-294-8560.
That's right. Call to donate and leave us a little message so you can get a shout out here like Susan. Susan knows exactly how to get some attention here. She gave a $200 donation. Susan is a Navy vet. She lives in Arlington, and she has a very simple message with her donation. Go Navy, beat Army.
Thank you, Susan, for giving Larry the opportunity to say that on air.
Roll goats. Joining us right now is Lisa Kelley. She's the Director of Digital Communications at Fisher House, and I can say firsthand she does a fabulous job because I work with her a lot on some of the programming that I'm lucky enough to do with Fisher House. Lisa, good morning. Thanks for waking up so early for us.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be on.
And you've worked with Fisher House for over 15 years now, and like so many people associated with Fisher House, you come from a military family. I think it makes it easier to show up for work every day when you know that you're helping families just like the one you grew up in.
Absolutely, yeah. My dad was active duty until I was probably about 13, so I grew up moving pretty much every year. Went to, I think, about 6 different elementary schools, and then my brother was active duty. So my brother was actually in Afghanistan while I was working for Fisher House.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I love it when it really sort of comes home for you. And what you part of what you do is you help tell some of these stories or get these stories out there to sort of go viral. You're sort of like the Fisher House influencer. What kind of stories on social media really sort of get that impact and the responses that really make a difference here in terms of telling the story?
That's great. I mean, I think it's the ones that people can relate to. It's the fact that sometimes it's those small things that, you crave when something bad is happening, right? It's getting that cup of coffee. It's families like the Brauns. I'll never forget, I met the Braun family at the Richmond Fisher House, and a young couple, high school sweethearts. He was active duty Marine Corps, and they were stationed in Japan. And she had just found out she was pregnant, and he was in a terrible car accident and was in a coma for months. They ended up sending them to Richmond. And when he woke up from his coma, they had her baby shower. They had her baby shower at the Fisher House. And that was actually where he first said his first words, "I love you."
Oh my
after
gosh.
Waking up from his coma. And
It's
was the
too early to start crying, Lisa.
gosh.
What are you doing to us here? God.
Oh,
It was beautiful, and that's the first place where she was able to bring their baby home when the baby was born.
oh,
So,
that's
that house
incredible.
was filled with, with little baby sounds during the holidays.
That's awesome. And, we talk about these stories, and of course, we're just moved. But when you talk about moving that story on social media and inspiring another generation, truly of donors, of young families and how do you guys, I mean, I guess I would say it's through the stories, but talk about how you do that, how you get the next generation of community involvement to keep this all going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're really lucky that the stories do tell such a great, a great thing. But I think it is, again, making those connections to, what maybe somebody who isn't part of the military, they're still going through that, right? I remember going to visit my grandfather in the hospital, and sometimes it's those little stressors like trying to find a parking spot first thing in the morning and connecting that to everybody deals with that when you're going to the hospital. And when they're staying at the Fisher House, they don't have to worry about that. That's one seemingly small thing that gets taken off their plate, but really in the end of the day, it ends up being a really big thing. And I think people can connect to something like that, or having your coffee the way you like it. Yeah. You know, in the morning, people can get up and make their coffee the way they want it. They have their own creamers at their, you know, in the refrigerator at the Fisher House. Yep. They don't have to worry about drinking hotel coffee. Yeah. You know, or trying to spend money, you know, buying their own cup of coffee somewhere. They can have that little home comfort of home, and I think people can relate to that.
Our heroes and their families deserve better than hotel coffee, that's for sure. Thank you so much.
Right?
It's so great to talk with you, Lisa. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and thanks for sharing those stories with us today.
Oh, thank you.
That is Lisa Kelley with Fisher House, and it's now your turn. 888-294-8560. Be a part of all of these stories and do your part to help these families and help our vets, our active duty, and everyone that cares for them when they need it most. That's what Fisher House does, and that's what you do by picking up that phone, 888-294-8560.